Welcome to People Love Process. I attended Adobe Max this year in Los Angeles, and the theme for the week-long creative conference was most certainly generative AI. That took up a lot of the conversation and a lot of the main session talks, and also it included the usage of that in the context of Adobe Express. Now, Adobe Express is Adobe's response to the popular Canva Surface, and I thought it was kind of interesting. Canva kind of pulled a good one on Adobe because at the conference right across the street from the Los Angeles Conference Center is this massive, almost a block long, about 8 stories tall digital billboard, and Canva took out an ad that kept playing the whole time at the conference was going, talking about Canva and their AI. So I thought that was kind of a brilliant move on Canva's part to kind of push back against Adobe, who clearly views, from everything you can see, Canva as a threat because they didn't come up with it. So there you go. But in this movie, I want to focus on the generative AI features added to Adobe Illustrator and kind of give you my honest assessment and insight regarding this functionality in the greater context of the creative process. I think it's really important for designers to have convictions on how they work and why they work that way. And that's kind of what I want to share with you because you've no doubt seen numerous reels on social media raving about this feature. And I think most of them are merely influencers who want views or likes and the payoff that goes with it. My take will be comparative in nature, and we'll discuss the generative AI is, what it means, how it works, and some behind-the-scenes information none of the real pushers will bother to talk about because it's anything but glamorous. So with that said, let's get started. Now, before I jump in to the comparative examples and the different categories of generative AI, the feature in general is called Text-to-Vector. And it's still in beta, but you can see it says Text-to-Vector. Well, after I saw this at the session that kind of revealed it to the public, my immediate response was, that's not text to vector, that's text to clip art. This is automated clip art that you can create by writing a prompt of sorts. But there's a lot of questions to it, and a lot of people had questions to it at the conference, and Adobe clearly knew people would, so they have a page up on their site that you can go to, and it explains how this works. Because I'll give Adobe this. I might not like this feature specifically, but you can't fault Adobe for not doing its legal due diligence, because ultimately the artwork that Text-to-Vector creates is derivative in nature, meaning it's derived from another source. And they went into it enough that you can understand the general concept of how it's derived. Now, if you go to another AI platform like Midjourney, they're pulling stuff anywhere and everywhere off the net, wherever it can find it, however they go about doing that. And I've seen images that actually show Shutterstock watermarks on the images that it cobbled together. Now, that's all pixel-based. Text-to-Vector actually creates vector graphics, as you're going to see here shortly. But it's important to understand what derivative is, because that comes from copyright terms. So in copyright law, you can take what is called your original creative expression. That can take on different forms for a copyright. It might be 2D artwork, like most of what all my copyrights are. It could be a short story you wrote. It could be lyrics you wrote. It could be a sculpture you did or a photograph you took. All of those things are intellectual property that you can file your copyright on. And when I say file a copyright, Copyright was part of our original Constitution. You have a constitutional right to protect your own creative forms of expression in whatever form that may be, like I listed. The government doesn't grant copyrights, it approves copyrights. Copyrights come about by the mere fact once you're done with creating your artwork or whatever it is, by default, you own the copyright unless you sell it to a company or a person and transfer those rights to them, then they own the copyright. Or maybe you work for a company and it's work for hire you did that they paid you to create, then that company owns the copyright and it's up to them to register it with the federal government. And I have a whole course on LinkedIn Learning called Copyright for Creatives. I made it free. So if you go to my LinkedIn account, you can find my post. It was just recently. And you can click on that link and watch that course for free. So I do know quite a bit about copyright. I've dealt with over 400 cases of infringement of my own work over the years. Companies, big, small, and tiny, and individuals, and everything in between. And so derivative, though, is a part of copyright in that if somebody, let's say, took this design that I have here of this toucan, and they just change the color from green, maybe they flip it so it's facing the opposite way, and they might even go in here and add a few feathers to this, but then they start using it or printing it on t-shirts. Well, they didn't create the artwork, meaning it wasn't an original creative expression that they came up with. They took artwork and they derived new artwork from it. That's what derivative work is. Well, it's important to understand that because everything I'm going to show you in this movie is derivative, meaning Adobe makes this AI work because all AI is an algorithm, and you type in a prompt. That's what we're going to be doing. And how it works is it goes to Adobe stock and it pulls images that reflect the prompt you put in and it cobbles it together into mash together, if you will, and spits out vector artwork that hopefully aligns with the prompt you typed in. That's essentially how it works. Now, that's an oversimplification. Obviously, I'm not going to get into code. I don't know the code. But they have done their due diligence in that anybody that creates photographs or 2D artwork or any kind of creative imagery, and they put it on Adobe stock to make sales royalty off of it, they have to opt in to AI, meaning they're okay with their image being used by generative AI like Text-to-Vector to create imagery. And if they are, they can opt in and they'll even get a small cut if it's ever used in something. But if they opt out, then it won't be scraped by the algorithm and used for, in this case, Text-to-Vector feature in Adobe Illustrator. So I thought it was important to explain that so you know what it's doing behind the scenes, because it just looks like magic otherwise. And basically, it's pre-existing artwork that a human created. It's scraping it for elements that align with the prompt, piecing it together, does some kind of image trace thing on it, and spits out the vector artwork. So let's go ahead and start. Right, if we go to the Properties panel, you can see the text-to-vector features here, and then there's different types. So we're first going to do subject, then we'll jump to doing a scene, then we'll do an icon, then we'll do some patterns and see what we can produce with that. This is the prompt. This is where you can punch in. This will show previews. These are sample prompts. So if you're not sure what to write, you can click on these and it'll tell you what to do. But notice I've pre-written all my prompts, so I'm not sitting here struggling trying to spell it correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how human ingenuity, I created this from scratch, we'll see how Adobe does over here with a prompt like that. So all we're going to do is we're going to draw out a shape over here. We don't even need a stroke on it. And I'm going to go to this type here. let's go ahead. By the way, this is the contextual menu bar. We're going to turn that off just so it doesn't get in the way. We're going to copy this text and we're going to paste it in place like that. Then I'll go over here, select this. We have our text in here and I can go generate. And it's going to ask you to agree to their usage terms. That's fine. We'll click agree and it's just going to process it. And this will take as long as it takes. So you can see it's generating over here and it'll give you multiple choices to choose from. So there's the first one. That's what you get. We put thick weight line style graphic of a toucan sitting on a branch in one color, dark green. Well, it kind of ignored our color choices, but that's okay. There's that one. Here's another one like that. And here's this one. We'll go ahead and leave it on this last one. But what I want to do is I just want to zoom in and look at the quality of these vectors. Do you see how it just looks like a poorly traced image trace? That's essentially because it is. Now this is the part Adobe won't disclose, but if I had to guess, it's scraping imagery, both vector, maybe it's just pixel, I don't know, vector or pixel, but it's composing it with all pixels, I think, because this looks like poorly traced image trace. So this is the quality that you're going to get. It's not that great production-wise. If you go into this, it's multiple grouped. If I pull this out, you can see there's just weird shapes. It's constructed kind of strange. And in my opinion, it's not that clean. Out of all of them, I guess I'm kind of okay with this one, but still, it's the amount of time. Here's the other thing with generative AI text to clip art in Illustrator is this does look like clip art. It looks like those CDs you'd buy back in the 90s and you'd have 1,000 images on it and they all look poorly image traced. But look at the beak on this one. It just looks wonky, like it's melting or whatever. The amount of time you would spend going in trying to clean up this artwork to improve it, because this is not professional looking art right now, it would be better served to spend that amount of time just creating it from scratch, to be honest with you. So that's the first subject. Let's jump to another one. We'll jump to another subject. And this one, I'm going to focus more on the styling here. So we'll go ahead and create another shape. Make sure we're on the right layer. So proportional, maybe something like this. This is the prompt we're going to do. Side view of a kangaroo in a graphic Baja style using flat colors of blue, red, and gold, because that's classic Baja style. This was actually the request of a client. This is pretty much almost exactly what she said to us. And we were the human AI, physical living AI people that took her prompt through a creative brief and came up with this Baja-styled kangaroo, which nobody would look at this and go, oh, I'm not sure what that is. Well, it's a kangaroo. It's kind of an abstract kangaroo because Baja style is kind of abstract, but it matches the style if you look it up. So we're going to go ahead and paste this prompt in. We'll do that. We'll go over here, select this, and we'll go generate. We'll see how it does here. I don't hold out too much hope in terms of the coloring. And by the way, this is going to take a while because this does go to the internet and it's doing it. It's not all within AI. It's going through AI, but it's kind of calling out to a server in order to generate this. All these images aren't sitting in a folder, in your application folder. That's interesting, but that's not Bauhaus style. Here's another one. Interesting. Again, not the style. Interesting. Again, not the style. It's just not impressed with that at all. Let's jump to the next one. Here's another one. Maybe we can force it to be symmetric. This did side view. That's fine. But I want to see that. So we'll go ahead and copy this prompt into here. Paste it. And now I'm going to go ahead and we don't need the fill like that. And we'll go generate. And we'll see how well it does. Yeah, okay. Well, get a temp, but yeah, this looks like if I told a student this information, they might come back with something kind of like that. Nah, don't really like this. Where's the antlers? Kind of ignored that. That's I'm surprised it did so well on the coloring, though. And then let's check out this one. Oh, yeah, that's a winner. Okay, so I think you're kind of getting the idea of what I'm doing here, comparing human ingenuity with artificial intelligence. Well, if you go to buy anything, food item, for example, juice, let's say, if you want really good Concord grape juice, which is awesome, by the way, if you can find it, it's like hard to find. Well, you can get artificially flavored or you can get the real thing. Which one's better? The real thing. So AI, artificial intelligence, or real intelligence doing the creativity. But that said, let's try another one, because one of the pain factors with generative AI is its ability to work out type within a design. So we're going to take this prompt. We'll go ahead and paste it in here. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually get rid of that outline. And this one's going to be more horizontal. So we'll do that. And we'll go generate. Once again, this is going out, and the algorithm that I'm assuming sits on Adobe servers is now scouring Adobe stock to find images to align with what you need. So here's this one. Apparently they have, I don't know, this looks like, I don't know, some kind of foreign language at the top, Dayar West. So it doesn't, in wet list, okay, whatever. Nice udder there. Oh yeah, that looks great. So yeah, that's kind of a vector train wreck. Let's take a look at this one. Well, they got a head. Okay, that just ignored most of what I asked for. And then let's do the last one. Well, they almost got West spelled right. Weast. So you can see it does not handle text very well. And even though you say a flat styled graphic, even if you put in an iconic, I don't think it'd do very well. But this kind of looks like a person on the spot. But the other part of this is really like how these things are constructed. They're just really oddly constructed, like just a mess. It's just an absolute mess. Definitely clip art quality artwork. But let's take a look at another, in my opinion, bag of hurt when it comes to AI is it's not good with dealing with kind of obscure concepts, meaning you're trying to, like in my head, I thought, oh, I'm going to make this kind of like a bird with the wings going out. Instead of a bird head, I'm going to give it just a giant eye because that'll look cool. And this was actually for a client who used to run a marketing firm, sold his marketing firm. I did an over-the-shoulder where I built the basis for that design. This is actually where it ended up. We added some other elements to give it more of a more First Nation look in terms of the styling. And this is being put on his yacht. He's getting a catamaran built in Argentina. So he sold his firm and he's getting a yacht now. First creative person I've ever met is able to do that. But that's kind of cool. It was a fun project to work on. So let's go ahead and see how close we can get with generative AI on this one. We'll go ahead and plug it in like that. And let's go over here and we'll go ahead and generate this. Click generate. It's going to Adobe stock and it's going, okay, can we find anything that has an eyeball instead of for a head? And in and of itself, that's not too bad, but that's not what my prompt said. And this another thing is the creative process about you have to get visual grammar right now in order to utilize this the best way. I don't know, maybe better prompts would come up with better art, but that's kind of, Let's go to this one, see if, well, there, at least it turned its head, and you can see one eye, but still not that great. And this one, just not that great. Just overall, not that great. Doesn't handle obscure concepts is what I wanted to get across there. So that's subject. Let's try another type, and that's a scene. So I have this scene that I illustrated, and this is my vector artwork here, and it was for wallpaper for iPad, iPhone, and desktop. I created it for the Icon Factory. They wanted a tiki theme, so I decided Tiki Nights would kind of be a fun title for it. And so it's like nighttime, you have a smoldering volcano on a tropical island with a lagoon with the moon, and you have the tiki mask and a torch. So we're going to go ahead and let's see, we'll stick with a kind of a square proportion over here like this. And then let's go ahead and just copy this prompt over here and see what that does. And we'll generate this. Okay, it looks like it's using a circular format. So we have this one. Okay. This just like kind of horrible vector art. Like if we go to keyline view, I almost like it better in keyline view. It almost looks like a mosaic that way. Okay, let's see what this next one is. Oh, we have a cat. Why? I have no idea. I like the colors on the volcano. At least that's kind of nice. Let's go to this one. This looks more like a... Oh, you know what I did? I goofed up. Okay, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I screwed up. We'll do this again. We'll go ahead and go like this because I left on subject. We have to go to scene. So let's give them a fair shot here like that. And then let's generate this again. And hopefully it'll do better knowing that it's on the correct type, which is a scene. My bad. I forgot to change that. And it's looking a little more in line. So this is the first one. And what is going on at the top of the... This looks like almost like a moon skull thing. Yeah, that's a little weird. Well, it definitely kind of has a night feeling, or maybe it's sunset type feeling. Let's see what the other ones look like. Click on this one. Definitely more of a scene, but still kind of a vector mess. Let's see the last one. Last one, yeah, no. So, not so great in terms of this kind of scene. Let's try a different scene. We'll go here. Turn this on. We're not even going to go off of any art I created. I just came up with a prompt that's I thought might be kind of cool, and that is this one. Why does it keep gravitating towards the pencil? What? Why is it doing that? Okay. This is where text in Illustrator gets really kind of funky. So we'll select it, copy it. We'll go down to here. There. Okay. And we'll paste that. Then we'll go ahead and let's see. We'll do a long kind of rectangle like that, and we'll go generate. So we'll see what a sun-scorched Arizona desert expanse towering saguaro cacti, which is a specific species of cactus you find in the desert. So maybe, oh, well, there you go. Maybe that's not bad. It still looks like a photographic image that was just blown out and auto traced really poorly, but definitely kind of fits what I was typing into my prompt. Let's go to another one. That's not bad. I actually like the color. This might be a good way to do some color exploration. So not bad, actually. The vector art's still kind of sloppy, but once again, I'm not too surprised by that. And this one. So are the compositions that great? Not really. I think probably the best one. I think this one's the most interesting. So you be the judge. Not bad, but once again, you're not getting quality vector art. And if you wanted to go in and try to clean this up, it might be a place to do some ideation, but once again, it's all derivative. This is obviously being pulled, in my opinion, from colors of images that are the desert and photography that's been image traced somehow with their process, and it spits this out. So let's go to another type. These are icons, so we're going to change our type to icon. And icons, these will give you an idea, simple formats. So we're going to do one where I'm just going to take this prompt and I'll go down here and I'll paste it in there. And we'll go ahead, since icons are mostly square, I'm going to create a square. And we'll generate an icon to see how well it does compared to the icon I created for the using the same information. Yeah, no, that looks like Art Explosion CD that Microsoft. Yeah, no, and nope. So kind of we got scorched there with AI. So let's go to the next one. Again, I'll go ahead and just draw a square because that's ultimately what we're going to be needing. Copy this prompt. Paste in here and generate. I really don't think it's going to pull off this monoline kind of style. And I know Adobe Express has a style, part of the generative AI in that. I don't use Adobe Express. Well, it came kind of close. I mean, this one's, no, that's horrible. This one's closer to what I was expecting it to do. So, looks more like a pigeon, not a dove, though. And then this one, no, nothing. So, not so great with that one either. Let's take a look at another one. This is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So again, let's go ahead and make sure we're on the right layer. We want it square in proportion. Nope, don't want that. I don't know why type is just so bad in Illustrator. You'd think they'd, well, am I surprised? Nope. So let's go here and generate. Oh, that's interesting. Tips. I never noticed these tips. Well, maybe if I write a prompt in, I don't know, Klingon, it could do a better job. Oh my God, that doesn't even have a happy face in it. How do you not put a happy face when I say note with a smiley face on it? Why no smiley face? Why so serious? What? This, no, not, that's, okay. Oop, let's go back up here, right there. And the last one, long shadow, but no smiley face. So that's kind of a complete failure. So you see, when you've seen those reels, just do this, and look at how amazing it is. No, it's not. I've yet to see some. And once again, obscure concepts. Being creative, coming up with creative ideas, is making connections between one thing and another. And there is a client that she wanted a bee in a graphic, and the name of her brand was High Five. And so me and Savannah came up with this idea. Savannah actually drew it. I built it. So this is the one we're going to do here. So let's go ahead and copy this prompt and paste in here. And let's create, since this one's, we'll do it about that size, I guess. Bring it up here and we'll go generate. We'll see what it does. Try a different graphic style by generating subjects or scenes on a blank artboard. Yeah, you can tell this is a good example of, you can tell this is, they're deriving this from some, art that's on Adobe stock. That doesn't look anything like what we want. This one looks like a drunk bee. Kind of cute, but what are these things over here? I have no idea. So again, this is definitely simplified artwork. And it looks a little better than the other ones we've seen so far, but still not that great, not super impressed. So we have a handful more to go through, and then and then I want to leave you with something, and I think that's going to be the ultimate point of this. But patterns. Let's switch to a pattern type, because you can do patterns. So here's a pattern I created, and it looks nice. And if you go to swatches, you'll see elements of this pattern up here. Now that I'm looking at it, oh, that's right, because I haven't created it. It would help if you created one. If I grab this, and all these are trim, so I used a bounding box to determine where it goes off, comes in from the bottom, left, right, so on and so forth. If you watch my pattern movies on Adobe Illustrator, you'll understand this. You'll be able to create any pattern you want from scratch, and you can control everything about it. So if I just drag this over and drop it, because it's already trimmed, I can select it and I can just go ahead and fill this with my pattern and it looks great. So let's go ahead and undo that fill because we're going to give this prompt, and we'll go ahead and copy this prompt, copy it, bring it over here and paste it. We'll select this and we'll go generate. And it's going to generate a pattern that's hopefully monotone lotus flowers and vines on a pink background. We'll see how it does. And this is the one part of generative AI that a lot of people go, ooh, it creates patterns. And it's like, and I'll admit, some of these patterns are kind of nice. But again, it's, well, I'll be frank with it. It's not your art. It's derivative of something somebody else created. And that's going to be a problem if you ever want to use it in a commercial sense or license it, let's say to a fabric company. You can't guarantee, well, if you try to copyright it, one of the things the Copyright Office will do now is it's going to be asking, is there any AI usage in this? Well, yes. Okay, you have to show them, for example, if you wanted to copyright this exact image. This is my prompt. You tell them what your prompt is. You show them what the prompt created. And did you do anything to change it? Well, if you didn't do anything to change it enough to make it an original creative expression, and there is no percentage like, oh, if you change 10% or 50%, there is no percentage. They'll look at it and make a case-by-case decision based off of copyright filings if it's an original creative expression of you or AI did most of the work. So you can see how that would be problematic. And I know you're going to start seeing in agencies who hire creatives like me to do exploration for them, they're going to have clauses in their contracts now that are going to state no AI usage in the creative process. I think they have to protect themselves from, possible problems down the road. So that doesn't look bad, that one. Let's click on this one. That's more monochromatic. That doesn't look that bad either. And then this one's more graphic. That doesn't look bad either. So you can kind of see why people really like this for the pattern aspect, because for whatever reason, it produces better art than all the other ones. So in that respect, I think it's a little more forgiving. So I just wanted to show you that. Let's jump to the next one. And this is a complex pattern. But once again, if you watch my pattern movies on People Love, you're going to notice I go over what's called the bounding box method. A pattern doesn't have to be a perfect square tile. It could be rectangular like this one. But all you have to do is be aware where it goes off on the bottom, where it goes off on the side, or if it goes off on the top or the right. And then wherever it goes off has to come in on the other side. So if I take this and select this and clone it, Command-C, Command-F, if you're using the context menu, you could hit the duplicate button now. And then I'll just slide this off and snap it here like that, just so you can see what I'm doing. I'll select this and we'll just color this blue. So you can see this bounding box, it's now coming in on the other side and it locks in. So that's how this repeat works. Now, I'm not going to walk you through all that, but that's how you can create it from scratch. It's not hard. You just have to understand that principle and then work it out. And I go over all of that in my People Love Process movies on the channel over patterns. And once you learn how to create something from scratch, you can create anything you want and control it as much as you want, make it more flexible, as flexible as you want, and you're not locked into a prefabricated design. So if I click on this, the other thing, there's so many things you can do. Graphic styles, where's graphic styles? I don't think I have it open. Oh, it is open. Where is it? Is it down here? It might be at the bottom. Here it is. So if I select this, here's my graphic style of my final pattern. And that's what it looks like. So you can do a lot of cool stuff if you just take the time to learn how to do it from scratch. Then that way you have zero limitation with your creativity. And that's always the best way to handle it, I think. So I just wanted to show you that. Let's go ahead and jump to another one here. And this one, I'm not even going to use any art to compare it to. All I'm going to do is let's go ahead and just create a box here. And I'll go ahead and take this prompt. We'll paste it in like that. Select our box and we'll generate. We're going to see what kind of pattern you can get from scratch. And oh, look at this. We're getting a one or more words in your prompt violate user guidelines. What file? Oh, gun maybe? Okay. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know why that. Let's try this. Maybe, I don't know what the second word would be. Okay. Let's try this. So now you have to use language that, doesn't offend an algorithm, I guess. Maybe they don't like the word gun. Okay, I think it was the word gun that was causing. Whatever, a ray gun is a ray gun. It's not okay. Okay, what? Oh, you know what? Maybe we can do it by going toy ray gun. Maybe. Let's experiment a little bit. I didn't test any of these, so that's why it happened. I didn't want to test them. I wanted to see, along with you watching, what comes up. So we'll go ahead and paste that in. I'll select this and I'll just regenerate new ideas. And yep, it's just gun in and of itself. Well, that's kind of silly. But anyway, let's go here. We can see that one's not bad. I could see pajamas kind of being that way. Let's check on this one. That's not bad either. So you can see why people would think patterns work so well. It's definitely faster. Is the vector art that great? Well, let's zoom in on one of these. We'll zoom in here on this, and that's the quality of vector art you're going to get when you use text to clip art feature in Illustrator. So let's jump into, I have 3 more examples I want to walk through, and this is more illustrative. Now, illustrative isn't a category in here, so I'm going to go to subject because that's the way I've thought about my prompts. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this prompt in. By the way, this was, there's a spirit called Naked Turtle Rum, and this was my character I created for that. And we're going to see how well AI does, get rid of the fill, with generating an illustration that I defined in my prompt. Oh, they might have a problem with cocktail now that I thought about it. I'm not sure. We'll see. No, I guess not. Cocktail is okay. Just don't bring guns into Adobe Illustrator, I guess. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's what? That's like horrible. What is the drink just floating? Okay, whatever. Let's go here. What? That's like, did somebody give alcohol to what's the name of that robot from Short Circuit? That's what it looks like. Okay, that's kind of dumb. And did I not say side view? Maybe, oh, I should have said, I thought, So, illustration of a turtle. Oh, let's do this. Let's go side view and see if it improves it. And we'll go copy. And we'll go over here. I'll paste, select this, and do a new prompt. And we'll see if that improves the results. None of those three. The second one was like, I don't know what it was thinking. Kind of dumb. It looked like a robot was there. Like, why would it put a robot in there? Okay, again, it's not. It has a problem with anthropomorphic characters, like, an animal taking on human characteristics. Yeah. I mean, if you're viewing this from, like, I don't know, across the room, this might look actually good, but that's pretty sloppy vector art. Let's click this. Yeah, its legs look kind of weird, and I don't think they have that long a tail. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. What? What? What is going on there? Looks like a human head. Okay. Or some lady kind of coming out like, I don't know. Wow. Okay. Let's jump to the next one. I think that's obvious enough how bad. So this one, I don't expect much from it. So we're going to do it anyway. I'll just make sure we're on the layer. We'll do a rectangle. That turtle one, man. That's going to crack me up. I might use that on the thumbnail for the channel. Okay. Paste this one in. Let's see what this does. I do not think this is going to pull this off. Amazing vector graphics in 3 steps. Oh yes, even in their own tips, they're hyping this feature. Oh boy. Okay. Well, the form factor. Okay. Nope. That, I mean, kind of from a distance, that doesn't. It's almost like so bad it looks good because it's almost handled in a very organic way. But I can tell they've cobbled this together using photo, especially in the wings and part of the face. Maybe some of this is graphic, but okay. I don't hate it. I just think the vector art is kind of lousy. Let's go to this one. Okay, it doesn't really know how to interpret tribal tattoo style. Which I didn't really expect it to. I just wanted to see what it was going to do. And this one's kind of freaky. Obviously they're going after a horned owl, with the feathers coming off the top of the head. Interesting. So there's that. Well, let's take a look at one last one, and then we'll actually two. This one is, I wanted to use one that had cartoon in it to see if that made any difference. So let's go ahead and create our box over here for it to generate in like that. And then we'll go over here. We'll select this text and we'll paste it over here and see how our prompt does with cartoon colored, a symmetrical, flat-colored graphic cartoon. Cartoon means a certain thing for me where it's not stylized like okay. Yeah, I don't really like that. None of them are growling. They all look like constipated. What's going on? Okay, and then yeah, not very impressed. So last but not least, we want to do another obscure one. And this one, I'm showing you the artwork I created. Actually, for the same client, I did the one-eyed kind of eyeball bird. That was on his yacht. called Dream No More. But his wife, he wanted to originally do Cthulhu, the monster, on his boat, but his wife wouldn't let him. And so I said, "How about this? I'll do another design for you, and you can use on stickers." He goes, "Yeah, do that." And so, once again, fun guy to work with. He doesn't mind crazy, so that's kind of nice. So we're gonna just plug in this prompt like this, but notice, is their algorithm going to understand Cthulhu, what that means, and will it be able to mash something together that's going to work for this? Well, I don't know. That's why we're going to try it and compare to see if human ingenuity works better than AI, and will generate. And its tip says, select subject or icon as your graphic type for vectors without a background. Okay. That's what we're doing. I see something kind of... Okay, so there was a show I used to watch on Saturday morning growing up by Sid and Marty Krofft, and it was called Sigmund the Sea Monster. That's what this reminds me of, and I'm dating myself by bringing that up. That wasn't even when I was a little kid. That kind of predated me in the 60s. But growing up in the early 80s and stuff, that's what I remember watching on Saturday morning. So I guess it maybe might have a little bit of the Cthulhu thing, but not much. This is almost like Cthulhu if Tim Burton used generative AI maybe. And let's see this one. This almost looks like a bird on the wings on each side. So not too impressed with generative AI. Adobe calls it text-to-vector. I call it text-to-clip art because that's the quality. Once again, if we zoom in on this, you can just see it just has that very loose image trace quality to it. There's no refinement of shape and form. And the amount of time you would spend cleaning this up, you'd be better served just to build it from scratch. And that's what I want to leave you with now, is take the time to develop your skills, to develop your core skills, your drawing skills. You don't have to be an illustrator like I am, but take the time to draw. Take the time to take that idea that comes to mind, put it on paper, and start playing with it, working with it. If you prefer drawing on the iPad, that's fine too. My daughter does everything on the iPad. I learned traditionally. I still like traditional. I use a translucent stock by Nina. You can find out what that is specifically by going to PPLuv.com. It'll take you to a page on my website, lists all my digital and analog tools. But this is where this one started. So it started as a rough drawing. I even did previous drawings to this where it was even cruder, but I just didn't want to walk through all that. I took this, redrew it again to make it a refined sketch, and then brought it into Photoshop, copied over one wing to the opposite side, kind of filled in everything that's going to be the darkest color in this design. But this is where I'll go in, I'll grab this, and like you see me do in so many movies, and I'll just set the value to 15% opacity, and lock the layer and start building my shapes on top of it. So it acts as a roadmap for vector building. These are all the shapes that I use. Eventually, I'll fuse all those together to create my base black and white artwork, as you can see here. This is where I'll print this out, and I go back to analog, and I print out that black and white artwork, and then I draw on top of it with a pencil to figure out my shading, because it goes a lot faster noodling around in Illustrator for hours. Then I'll build those same shading and detail shapes the same way I built my base art. So when it's all said and done, I have my final base color. Then it just comes into the detailing in this case. So I have the surface highlight on his head here. I have the shading. We drop all the shading on the wings and his tentacles and all those areas. And then we have deep shadows where it gets even darker in certain areas. And then we have the deep wrinkles under his eye just to give it more interest. And then obviously the highlights, the rim highlights. And all of that comes together to form a very kind of magical piece of artwork that's completely original. This wasn't derivative of some algorithm scraping pre-existing art. This is what you need to be as a creative. And I'm not saying you need to get to this level of illustration. I don't mean that at all. I mean, you want to improve your core skills. I'm not opposed to AI. Generative AI works very well in context of Photoshop to extend a cropped image or even create imaginative compositions. That is fine. I've used it in several advertising campaigns with my clients to improve the photos in those ads. But generative AI in Illustrator is just another kind of half-baked feature by Adobe. But beyond its sloppy vector results, the fundamental idea, in my opinion, is kind of wrong-headed and caters to lazy creatives. They might be able to improve upon it with time. We'll tell if that's the case. But it'll always be unoriginal, derivative in nature, since it scrapes the visual imagery it mashes together from a pool of pre-existing art, Adobe stock, that was created via skill and craftsmanship and human ingenuity to begin with. So why not improve your core skills so you can take those core skills and over a lifetime of creativity, create original art instead of just deriving your art from pre-existing artwork that somebody else enjoyed creating. So a big thank you to those who access my source files and have become members as well. I appreciate your interaction with this channel because it helps me to continue producing original creative projects I can share with you. Until next time, thank you for watching People of Process. And as always, I hope this content helps you improve your own creative process.